Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Okay, this is VK7 OTC, the club station, the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Nights. And hello to Dave, Dave from Bridgewater, and Andrew from Cygnet. So greetings and welcome. And if you are watching via streaming, please let us know where you're coming in from. It's always good to know where our streaming viewers are viewing from. So, to kick us off, Acknowledgement of Country in recognition of the deep history and culture of this island. We would like to acknowledge and pay our respects to all Tasmanian Aboriginal people, the traditional owners of the land upon which we are presenting tonight. So, we've got a whole bunch of stuff tonight. Lots of promotion of a huge event which is about to happen. But I'd just like to acknowledge some special guests who are in Tas Maritime Radio, and also next door there's Ben, VK7BEN, and his cousin Adam, who were just in the studio. So welcome to Ben and Adam. And also we've got Sisters Akousmatica in with the Tasmanian Maritime Radio people right at the moment. That's Julia and Philippa, and also special guest Tomoko Momiyama from Japan. So they're finding out all about maritime radio right at the moment, and they are all composers, radio artists, etc. So should be a fantastic show. We might be able to get them into the studio later, but not quite sure. And hello to Richard from Sunny Tree. Very good, love it. And also Hayden, Ham Radio DX. Good evening. So good stuff. All right. Now the huge news which hit a number of news channels, as well as our national news and our local news, was the Tasmanian Ham Radio Conference and Expo, which is happening on the 5th and 6th of November. The 5th is a presentation day, which is the Saturday, and the 6th is the Expo, which is lots and lots of vendors, pre-loved, raffles, etc., etc. So what I thought I would do is just give you a bit of an idea of the sort of things that we're putting together. The presentation day, we actually have 3, 6, 9, we've got 12, 12 different presentations. So it's going to be a really full day. To give you a bit of an idea about what sort of topics we're going to be covering, we've got the ARRL education and training person. Spoiler, spoiler alert! You're right. You're right, Hayden. Getting some spoiler alerts going there. So a little bit from the ARRL education and training. I don't want to give away too much here. That's coming in from. It's an online presentation. Got a bit about remote station operation. So don't miss that elusive and rare DX. So we've got, of course, Rex, who is wending his way back to Tasmania from Hawaii. Having packed up everything, so we're interested to learn what Rex has learnt whilst he's been in Hawaii. We've got a very interesting one around EMR and electrical safety from Dr. Kevin VK4UH. Bit about worldwide flora and fauna, and I think you can guess who that's going to be. Low power portable EME. That's another fantastic talk. EME from your backyard. So Richard's ears will prick up there. Bit about QRP SOTA builds from the US. That's coming in as an online presentation. The 122 and 134 gig car radar. That's been built into a very usable little transceiver by David, VK5KK. A bit about interference, dealing with interference. Bit about propagation, digital amateur television, which of course we'll be interested in. A bit about Alara, and then we wrap up for the particular day. So that's a little bit about some of the presentations you're going to see. There's some fascinating stuff in there. On the 6th, November the 6th, which is the Expo, lots of vendors, and I think I did a bit of a spoiler on the broadcast, the WIA broadcast. And said that ICOM will be coming down, but there will be lots and lots of others. DX Systems, Mobile One, Spook Tech, Moonraker, JCar, Active, all about DX. We'll have a table for Scouts. We'll have a table for Alara, etc., etc., etc. So lots of vendors will be down there, and of course all of the pre-loved tables, which are. Wouldn't be the same, wouldn't be a ham fest if it wasn't for the pre-loved tables. Hello Gary from Lower Snug, VK7JGD, hello. We will have a huge weekend. Now, where is it all happening? It is happening at the University of Tasmania, the Sir Stanley Burbury Theatre, which if you've driven along Churchill Avenue, you will drive past the big facade that has the University of Tasmania on it. That is the Stanley Burbury Theatre, the Sir Stanley Burbury Theatre. So there you go. That's where the 2 days is actually being held. It is a fantastic facility, and a huge thank you to Hayden, VK7HH, for securing that particular facility for us. It has a fantastic presentation theatre, if you've never been there. Big screens, lots of AV, a huge foyer for our vendors, and some little breakout areas, etc. So it will be absolutely fantastic. And hello to Phil, VK7ID. Yes, well, we'll try to do that, Phil. Not sure what they're bringing down, but you never know. You never know your luck in a big city or a small city as well. So there you go. 5th and 6th of November, save the date. Save the date. And many people have already indicated that they are coming down. All of those vendors that I mentioned are all in person. They are coming with with stuff, and most of the presentations are all going to be in person as well. There are a couple that are coming from the US that will be online, but most of them will actually be in person. So you will have somebody in front of you actually talking to the screen. So there you go. And oh yes, thank you, Hayden. And Friday night, social night as well. We're having a bit of a gathering on the Friday night for those people who are already in Hobart. And we'll work out what's where and what and how and all of that sort of stuff and let people know. So a bit of a social night on the Friday before everything kicks off on a absolutely fantastic weekend. So so there you go. Thanks for that, Hayden. Totally forgot about that. Now, so 5th and 6th of November. Get that in the head and in the calendar. 5th and 6th of November. The Saturday and the Sunday. So now, last week I showed the wonderful RIDEN RD6018 power supply, and when I was showing that, I was actually I showed the it was the reason I gave for having a power supply that goes up to that higher voltage. I had the 55 volt DC LED strip, and 55 volts was about the right voltage to get all of the LEDs on that strip to light up to a reasonable brilliance. Now, I mentioned that I had and I'll see how we go here. Close-up camera. Let's zoom in here. I mentioned that I had a module, and this is the module. And to give you an idea, there's my pointer finger. So it's about the length of a finger. This module, this particular module, is readily available through. I think this one was AliExpress, but this is a 50 watt. Full spectrum, so it does give you the red and the blue, which is very important if you're growing plants under lights. I'll leave it at that. But very important if you're growing plants under lights. You need that red and blue spectrum, which is what the sunlight gives for photosynthesis. But this is a 50 watt, and those two connections, here, you'll notice have an L and an N next to them. That's live and neutral. You can put 240 volts AC directly into this particular module, and you get 50 watts out of this. And you can see, we'll see how far in we can go here and do a bit of a. Ooh. Now, each one of those little chips in here. Are an LED, and you'll notice that they're one way, and then they're the other way, and then they're so this is put together in such a way as to give you, I suspect, a string of many LEDs, so that you can run this on 240 volts. But this is, and you'll notice on the back, it's actually all bonded onto a piece of aluminium, which you do have to put on a heatsink. It does get quite warm, but there is some regulation, and also I suspect this is rectification as well, and some regulation. Actually, in fact, that looks like a full bridge rectifier right there under that bit of goop. But this is a 240 volt module. 50 watt LED for specifically put together for plant grow floodlights, and yeah, these things are available. 240 volts in a module, 240 volts straight in, and you've got 50 watts of output. Need to put it on a heatsink, but yeah, that is the sort of modules, the sort of LED modules that, and they run at a fraction of the current that the equivalent 50 watt would run at. So it's certainly not drawing 50. That's 50 watts of light energy, not 50 watts of input power. So Yeah. Anyway, and they're available at your local Chinese retailer. So there you go. Now, I keep banging on about a 160 metre short vertical that uses some uses recycles. That's a better way of doing it. Recycles a long vertical and puts a loading coil on it. You can see here on the screen, and I apologise for that transition. That was a bit rough, wasn't it? But that what it's showing you here is the very top of it, and this particular improvement, I suppose you'd say. A couple of weeks ago I showed you the poor thing that had suffered a bit of an attack by the wind, and the guy ropes had broken and the thing had fallen over and cracked all of the PVC and all of this sort of stuff. The improvement that I made was there are a couple of what are they called? Carabiners, that's the word I'm looking for. And I've put a couple of holes in the top of this aluminium tube. This is about a 20mm aluminium tube. A couple of holes. I still have the, if we zoom in here, I still have the stainless steel strap around here. And you'll notice that these are the capacitive hat. So this is how I held the guys on before. They are still there at 120 degrees, and then there is these carabiners that I have put the actual guy ropes on. This is Kevlar cord. If you've ever come across this is very strong guy rope cord. It's got Kevlar in it. Can take some scary amount of strain. But the Kevlar cord is tied to these carabiners. They go off to the various trees, and the capacitive hat here is then tied to each of these particular guy wires. So that's a bit of a hardening, I suppose. I'm not expecting this to fall over anytime soon, especially with the Kevlar guy ropes. And I'll be bringing this up to the Queen's Domain in a couple of weeks' time to do some tests with radials and do some performance tests with radials on it up here and see how we actually go. So now, next AR magazine, I've been asked to write this up for a 160 metre antenna article for AR magazine. The next AR magazine will be a oh, that was good, wasn't it? The next AR magazine, let's try that. The next AR magazine will be an antenna issue. This AR magazine, which we're going to look at in a little while, is on outdoor adventures. The next one's on antennas. So that we'll look out for the 160 metre short vertical article for that, with all of the improvements that I've put into it. Now, on that particular antenna, I had a single sideband contact with Norfolk Island, VK9DX, who is from New South Wales. I'm trying to remember his name. It's a Japanese name, Hiroki, I think, from who also holds a VK2 call sign. Currently on Norfolk Island, and made a single sideband contact with him. I think it was 4-1, so it wasn't a very good contact, but it was a contact. We exchanged signal reports and names, and then went on our merry way. So certainly I do like having VK9DX in the log. That's always good. Always good to have a VK9 in there. I just need a VK0, as in VK0 Whiskey November, who's on 20 metres during the day. So worth a bit of a look. Now, what's been going on here? Also, after okay, there's a bit of a bit of wheeling and dealing going on in the chat. So now, the RIDEN Power supply. One of the things that I wanted to point out and show you. Let's zoom out here a little bit and swap over to the close-up cam. Now this was the RD6018, so 60 volt and 18 amps. It's capable of. It's a buck boost arrangement. So you've got basically a 70 volt switch mode power supply sitting in the back of this, and then there is a switch mode controlling arrangement, fully programmable. Enables you to program voltage, current, constant voltage, batteries, etc, etc, etc. It's got a data logger that I showed last week for battery charging, etc. Now, having done a little bit more reading on this particular power supply, I find out that a Russian company called Unisoft have actually reverse engineered the software and come up with their own version of the software to run this, and improved it out of sight. So some of the stuff that they have actually been able to do. Hello. We've got Julia and Phillipa and Tomoko. You can come in. You can come in.
Yeah.
You can come in. Yes. You can. Yes. You're welcome to come in. And so one of the things that they've been able to do with the revision of the firmware for this particular power supply is improve the precision. So you actually get a couple of decimal points extra on the actual. And I've now got Julia sitting next to me. So welcome, Julia.
Hi.
How you going?
Good. We've learnt a lot about waves.
Tas Maritime Radio.
Yes.
Well and truly.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the highlight from Tas Maritime Radio?
Well, so much.
Yes, it was so much information, but I don't know. Actually, I'm a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And Mark's one of the great operators from Tas Maritime. So he's in here every Wednesday night. So we know Mark well.
He was very generous with his knowledge.
Yes.
Excellent.
Maybe what I liked was listening to the voice actually of the somebody very far away.
Yeah, far away.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that sounds like an alien. It was going up and down and slow and loud and
Okay.
quite distorted.
Okay.
I wanted to hear more.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Oh, excellent. That's very good indeed. Well, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. So this particular power supply that we were looking at, the firmware upgrade, which would you believe the firmware actually comes from Russia? So, and I know evil Russia right at the moment, I understand that, but there are some nice people in Russia who write software. One of the things that it actually gives us is a whole lot more precision. Some of the things that didn't actually work with the Chinese software actually now work with the Russian software, which is the battery charging functionality. All of that actually now works. The temperature control on it that wasn't working, it didn't actually have a temperature cutoff when you do battery charging, now works. And you've got a whole lot of different display options that enable you to that you can select, and you can also calibrate it. So if you have a much more accurate instrument, you can actually then calibrate this particular power supply. It enables you to put in those calibration points. So you can actually make this quite an accurate power supply. So there is a whole lot of things that you can do. I am endeavouring to actually upgrade the firmware in mine. And I'll let you know in our next program how that went. I really hope I don't brick it, but you never know. But we'll get there. So yes, that's the latest on the RIDEN power supply. So now here we go. Now, do you speak German? Or
No.
No? Okay. Because DUBUS magazine, which we've featured on here, which is, if you're into microwave experimentation, DUBUS magazine is the magazine in the world. It comes out of Germany and it's a bilingual magazine. All the articles are both in English and German. So, you get the story in English and then you get the story in German.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
It's an awful lot of work, and it's a really high quality magazine.
Cool.
And there is some really impressive material in DUBUS magazine. It is their 50th year this year. Now, if you turn to a particular article at the back of the DUBUS magazine, then you'll see a familiar name. And in fact, I mentioned that Rex is on his way back from Hawaii right at the moment with his equipment. He had mixed success, but he did have lots of learnings. So this is the article that he actually wrote not that long ago about his planning to get to Hawaii. Now, the reason he was going to Hawaii for our visitors in the studio is there is a long distance path between Hawaii and the west coast of America, which is, if you can do a contact across that distance, it would be a world record on a particular frequency, on a particular microwave frequency. And so Rex did lots of planning on this. One of the key things about Hawaii being a volcanic island is they have very high mountains, which means you can go up the mountain to actually get to the height of what we call tropospheric ducts, which are inversion layers between cold, warm, cold air. So it creates this duct that microwaves can travel through and can travel longer distances than what you would expect normally. And so one of the things that the mountains gives you is the ability to go up to the height of where those ducts are to actually get to America. Now, unfortunately, Rex didn't have success there, but he had lots of learnings about what went wrong, what actually didn't work. So I have no doubt he's probably planning again to head off and we'll have a world record. So yeah, there was certainly some contacts made on a lower frequency, and there was some Earth Moon Earth contacts that were done from Hawaii. So it wasn't a total loss for all of the equipment that went there and all of this sort of stuff. But yeah, he did lots of learnings, and he's on his way back. And we're hoping that in a week or so's time he'll be in this chair, telling us all about it. So yeah, that's DUBUS magazine. We'll go into a few other articles in the future programs. Now the other magazine that arrived in the post today is Amateur Radio magazine. This is the magazine of the national amateur radio body in Australia, called the Wireless Institute of Australia. This particular theme in this one is outdoor adventures, and there are some huge articles in here. I just want to flick through. I want to get to a very interesting article about the new president of ALARA. Now, the new president of ALARA, Michelle. Now, the ALARA is the Australian Ladies Amateur Radio Association. So it's the national women's amateur body in Australia. I'm getting there. Believe me, I'm getting there. Because Michelle, who is the new head of ALARA, is currently learning to fly helicopters.
Oh, wow.
So this is her learning. This is now Michelle VK2AYL, ALARA president. this is her training in a helicopter, in a training helicopter. You can see there's a training on the tiller. This is her training to be a helicopter pilot. She is already a pilot, an aircraft pilot, and she wants to be in pilot helicopters. Now the other one, this is her actually operating an amateur radio. So there you go, which is probably a bit of a letdown given it's going from a helicopter to an amateur radio. But anyway, but so this is the new president of Alara, Michelle VK2 AYL. So. And they talk about the Alara contest. Now, the Alara contest is happening the weekend after the Remembrance Day contest, which is the 13th and 14th of August. So that next weekend will be the Alara contest. Big spiel about the Alara contest. We managed to get a wonderful bit of promotion for Reast in this magazine, which is how to succeed with amateur radio open days, and the opening picture there is VK7ZBX. So there you are, Richard. You get the first picture in the article, which is your wonderful dish on the trailer. So there you go, and it goes through and gives some ideas of what we do for the Amateur Radio Open Day, and also the presentation focus of each of these elements, which is the important bit. The other one that I'll just point out is this is being an outdoor focused magazine for this particular edition. There is, and Sergio did a fantastic job when he laid out this article. Go portable, they said. It'll be fun. Now, this is all about summits on the air. So this is where we go up on a summit, go bushwalking, go up on a summit, take a radio with us. Depending on the height of the summit, you get a number of points. You get a number of points as an operator, and the people that contact you get a number of points. So this is all about my son Reuben, and you can see that's Reuben there looking quite wet, and this is Mount Styx. This is that's Mount Styx, and the top one, for those to give you a bit of an idea about where that is Mount Field West. So this is Mount Field East, I think probably around about here or there. This is at the Needles. So if you drive to Strathgordon, so you go past National Park, you go past Mount Field, you go through Medina, you keep going to Strathgordon on the west coast, so the Gordon Dam. You get to a part of the highway that says this is the highest point on this highway. That's where the Needles are. You then walk up the hill from there. So you're up quite high already, and you walk up there. And on a day where it's clear like that, you have a 360-degree view, a fantastic view of all of the mountains off in the distance. So, and Sergio did a fantastic job of incorporating that in. Basically, it's the centre of the magazine. So yeah. It did a really good job. So that's a bit of an article about our experiences doing SOTA. And can I just say the headings, the subheadings, for a laugh. Starts off with rain and water, then moves to wind and snow, and then moves to and just plain dumb. So that's the SOTA articles for the latest outdoor magazine. So really worth a good read. Now, reminders. 30th of July, which is this Saturday, we have a education and assessment. Richard just said, sounds like a winter field day to me. Yeah, well, you have all four seasons in 10 minutes, don't you, Richard? Especially on Mount Wellington. This coming Saturday is a training and assessment day for those people who, I think we have got 4 4 people booked for training and assessment on Saturday. Then next Wednesday is Joe Stevens. Now, Joe Stevens is VK7JS. Joe is talking to us about the development that he did for a thing called, some software called Accessible GD77. This is handheld software that enables you to make your GD77 handheld much more accessible. For those who don't know, Joe is actually blind, and he writes software. And he writes very successful software. In fact, screen reader software, he writes handheld software, he writes all sorts of software. And he's actually coming down to Hobart. He lives up in the Tamar Valley at Exeter, and he's coming down to give us a talk about Accessible GD77. That's next Wednesday. And then next Saturday, the Saturday after that, so this Saturday in a week's time, on the 6th of August, we have the Ham Radio Fox Hunt Day. You guys might be interested in that. Okay. Because this is all about getting your fox. Now, Pip, can you hand me the thing that says fox on it? Thank you. Now, one of the things that we're going to be looking for is this thing. This is a fox. So this is a transmitter. Got a battery in there. It's a film container. Yes, it is a film container. It's a 35mm film container. And we start that going and hide it, and then we go looking for it. So we've got direction finding antennas, which are up on top of our repeater rack there. Direction finding antennas, and we go and look for it. That's the first thing we look for up here on the domain. And then we use the high-powered Fox, which Hayden put together and showed us a couple of weeks ago, and that's going to be hidden somewhere in Hobart. Wow. So you have to go off and find the fox somewhere in Hobart.
What day is this?
Sorry?
What day is this?
This is the 6th of August, okay. Saturday the 6th of August, and then after that we're actually having a barbecue up here. so fingers crossed, the weather's going to be perfect. Absolutely perfect. So get your team together. Get your team together for the fox hunt, and there'll be prizes. So those people who find the fox first, there'll be a prize. So yeah, worth a bit of a look. Oh, and we've got Tim. Hello, Tim. And Tim's coming down in November to the conference. So VK5ZT. So hello, Tim, and looking forward to catching up. Fantastic. In fact, there's a big contingent, I think, from VK5 and also VK4. Some VK2s, VK3s have all said they're coming down with bells on. So there you go. So that's what's coming up. So thank you for all of those people who called in on the chat. Thanks for letting us know you're out there. And the one I didn't remind you about, save the date, the 5th and 6th of November, which is exactly what Tim's talking about. Saturday the 5th and Sunday the 6th of November, the Tassie Ham Radio Conference and Expo. And registrations will be open very, very soon. We're just working out a few things, and then we'll open the registrations. The registrations are via Eventbrite, so you'll get a link that you can go to and register and tell us what you want to go to and all of that sort of stuff, and we'll then take it from there. So 5th and 6th of November, save the date. So thank you for all our viewers, all our people who called in, and we'll see you next week. The presentation by Joe, VK7JS, will be streamed. Will actually be streamed, and we'll be taking questions via the chat. So you can watch online, or you can come up and see Joe in person and ask questions, etc., etc. So via the chat or in person, and that should be a fantastic presentation around accessible GD77. Anyway, have a fantastic week. Please stay safe out there. It is COVID dangerousness out there, so please stay safe. Use all the measures and stay warm, and we'll catch you in a fortnight's time for the ATV night or in a week's time for the presentation. So cheers and 73.